That slow, quiet drift, the days blurring together, the small decisions you keep putting off, the plans you tell yourself you'll start soon. And without even realizing it, you're losing time, not in a dramatic, movie scene kind of way. In the small ways, the ways you don't even feel happening until it's already gone. Because the truth is, time doesn't just disappear all at once. It slips through tiny cracks. It fades away in the moments you tell yourself it's not a big deal. In the conversations you avoid having. In the chances you talk yourself out of before you even start. And it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're broken. It's because life doesn't announce when you're drifting. It just happens, one comfortable choice at a time. And the hardest part? You only realize how much time you've lost when it's already in the rearview mirror, when the opportunity you were thinking about is no longer there, when the change you wanted feels a little further away, when you wake up one day wondering, how did another month just slip by like that? But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be that way. You can stop the drift. You can get back your time, your life, before more of it slips through your hands. And it doesn't take a massive life overhaul. It doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or moving across the world. It starts smaller. It starts today. It starts right now. Because the clock isn't against you. It's just waiting for you to notice it again. Here's something nobody really tells you about time. It doesn't care how motivated you are. It doesn't slow down because you're figuring things out. It doesn't pause when you're scared. It just keeps moving, patiently, silently, whether you're ready or not. And that's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake something up inside you. Because there's real power in realizing that time isn't the enemy. It's not out to get you. It's just waiting to see what you'll do with it. The dangerous part isn't that time moves forward. It's that we tell ourselves stories that make us believe we have unlimited time to waste. You know the stories. I'll start once things calm down. I'll focus when I'm feeling more motivated. I'm still young. I have time to figure it out. And listen, there's nothing wrong with giving yourself grace. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Nobody does. But there's a difference between giving yourself grace and giving yourself excuses. And the line between the two is way thinner than most people realize. Because excuses sound noble at first. They sound responsible, even smart. I'm just being realistic. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. I need more information before I act. But underneath those words, if you listen closely, what you're really hearing is fear. Fear of getting it wrong. Fear of failing publicly. Fear of starting and realizing you're not as good as you hoped you'd be. And that fear, it's incredibly good at disguising itself as wisdom. It whispers in your ear, take your time, no rush, just be safe. Meanwhile, days slip by, weeks dissolve into months, and you're still standing in the same place, with the same dreams, living the same quiet frustration. But here's the good news. If fear can disguise itself as wisdom, then courage can disguise itself as small steps. Courage doesn't always look like a bold leap into the unknown. Sometimes it looks like sending the email you've been scared to send, or starting the project you keep shelving, or making the phone call that makes your stomach turn a little, or sitting down for 20 minutes to work on something that actually matters to you. Small actions, tiny movements, quiet revolutions. Because real change doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need perfect timing. It doesn't need dramatic music playing in the background. It just needs a quiet moment of honesty with yourself, where you stop saying one day and start saying today. And maybe today isn't the day everything changes, but it's the day you change. The day you stop waiting for a feeling to tell you it's time. The day you stop giving fear the final word. The day you realize that even the smallest step breaks the illusion that you're stuck. Because once you move, once you take even the tiniest action, you're no longer standing still. And when you're not standing still, time is no longer slipping past you. You're moving with it. You're building something. You're becoming someone you're proud of. Not because you waited for permission, but because you decided your time is too valuable to waste any longer. One of the biggest myths people quietly believe, without even realizing it, is the idea that life will eventually slow down for them to catch up. That once they reach some imaginary milestone, more money, more stability, more clarity, they'll finally have the time and energy to focus on the things that actually matter. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Life doesn't slow down for you to get ready. It just keeps going. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years stuck in preparation mode, getting everything almost ready, almost perfect, without ever stepping into the life you were meant to live. And it's subtle. It doesn't feel like procrastination at first. It feels smart. It feels like you're being responsible, cautious, strategic. But meanwhile, time keeps moving quietly in the background, and you're left wondering why everything feels frozen, even though you're doing everything right. Because preparation without action is just another form of hiding. And hiding, it's comfortable, it's familiar, it's safe. But nothing meaningful ever grows in hiding. Your growth doesn't happen when you're perfectly ready. It happens when you step out, messy, unsure, unprepared, and move anyway. And yeah, moving might feel clumsy at first. You might trip. You might second guess yourself. You might even fail. But here's something people don't talk about enough. Failure isn't the opposite of progress. It's part of it. Failure teaches you faster than theory ever could. Failure isn't proof you're on the wrong path. It's proof you're on a path. It means you're moving, you're living, you're trying. And every time you try, even if you don't get it right, you learn something you couldn't have learned standing still. That's why staying stuck feels so frustrating. Because deep down, you know you're meant to be in motion. You know you're not built to live your entire life rehearsing, waiting, imagining. You're built to experience, to stumble, to adjust, to grow. And the beautiful part is, once you start moving, once you start actually engaging with your life, instead of just thinking about it, things begin to shift around you. Doors you didn't even know existed begin to crack open. Opportunities that looked invisible from the outside suddenly come into view, because life has a way of meeting you at your level of action, not at your level of planning, not at your level of good intentions, at your level of movement. And maybe the reason it's felt like life hasn't been working for you lately isn't because you're broken, but because you've been waiting for life to meet you halfway without taking the first steps toward it. Maybe, just maybe, life is ready, and it's been waiting for you to be ready. Not perfectly ready, not fearlessly ready, just ready enough to try. Because you don't need a perfect plan. You just need a decision, a small, quiet decision that says, I don't know exactly how this will go, but I know standing still isn't an option anymore. And once you say that, once you make that internal shift, everything around you starts shifting too, because change doesn't happen to you. It happens through you, and it all starts with that first imperfect, courageous step. One of the most freeing things you'll ever realize is that momentum doesn't belong to the people who have everything figured out. It belongs to the people who are willing to move before they feel fully ready. That willingness to step forward, to risk a little, to trust yourself enough to begin, that's where real change starts growing. Because the truth is, clarity isn't what comes first. Motion does. Clarity is the side effect of having the courage to step into the unknown. And every time you move, no matter how small the step, you chip away at the invisible wall that's been convincing you you're trapped. Every choice you make to engage with your life, rather than sit on the sidelines of it, builds a kind of quiet power inside you. The kind of power you can't fake, can't borrow, can't rush. It's the strength that comes from living your own life with your own hands. Not because it's easy, not because it's guaranteed, but because it's yours. And here's something else most people don't realize. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike to earn that strength. In fact, waiting for motivation is probably one of the most dangerous traps there is. Because motivation is emotional. It's fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. But your life keeps moving, whether you feel like it or not. And that's where discipline, real, meaningful discipline comes in. Not the kind that feels rigid and cold, not the kind that punishes you for not being perfect, but the kind that gently reminds you, I get to do this today, even if it feels hard, especially if it feels hard. Because every time you show up for yourself when it's uncomfortable, you're quietly telling your future self, I'm building something for you. And that future version of you, the one who looks back at these days, these small decisions, won't care how messy it looked or how unsure you felt. They'll just be grateful you kept moving, because movement is sacred. It's not flashy. It's not always beautiful, but it's sacred. It means you're alive. It means you're participating in your own becoming. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to move perfectly. You don't have to always know exactly where you're going. You just have to refuse to let the fear of imperfection keep you standing still. Because the only real mistake you can make right now isn't failing. It's freezing. It's convincing yourself you need to feel stronger, smarter, more ready before you act. But the act itself, the showing up, the trying, that's what makes you stronger. And every moment you choose to engage, you're stealing a little bit of power back from fear. You're reminding yourself that you're not here just to survive time passing. You're here to live through it, with presence, with effort, with a little bit of messy, stubborn courage. And yeah, some days you'll slip. Some days you'll forget. Some days you'll feel like you're starting all over again. But that's not failure. That's life. Life isn't a straight line. It's a winding path filled with missteps, pauses, and unexpected turns. But it's movement that matters, not perfection. And every time you choose to take that next small step, you're proving to yourself that change isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one quiet, courageous moment at a time. There's something most people misunderstand about progress. They think it's supposed to feel exciting all the time. Like every day you're chasing your dreams, you'll wake up feeling electric, driven, unstoppable. But the reality? Progress, real progress, often feels boring. It feels like doing the same tiny thing over and over again when nobody's cheering you on. It feels like choosing the slightly harder path when the easier one would be way more comfortable. It feels like showing up for yourself, even when the only person who notices is you. Because change doesn't explode into your life. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fireworks. It builds quietly, almost invisibly, inside you. You don't notice yourself getting stronger day by day. You don't realize your mindset shifting one thought at a time. It's subtle, it's silent, it's slow, until one day you react differently to something that would have broken you 6 months ago. Until one day, you finally set the boundary you were too afraid to set before. Until one day, you look around and realize you're living a life that the old you wouldn't even recognize. And that moment, it doesn't happen because you had a perfect plan. It happens because you kept showing up, even on the days when it didn't feel special. Even on the days when it felt like nothing was happening. Even when your old habits kept calling you back to comfort. Because here's a truth that will save you so much time. Consistency is louder than intensity. Anyone can have a powerful week. Anyone can have a motivated afternoon. Anyone can post a highlight reel of their best moments. But the people who build real, lasting change, they are the ones willing to be quietly consistent when no one's clapping, when nobody's validating them, when it feels like progress is invisible. And that's where you separate yourself. Not by doing what's easy when you're hyped up, but by doing what's right even when you're bored, tired, or doubting yourself. Because there will be days when motivation disappears. There will be days when the old version of you whispers, why are we even doing this? It's not working. And on those days, the decision you make matters even more. Not the dramatic decision, not the New Year's resolution, the tiny, boring, stubborn decision. I'm still showing up. Because that's how you move from being someone who dreams about change to someone who creates change. Not overnight, not perfectly, but quietly, relentlessly, honestly. And when you live like that long enough, you start to realize the version of yourself you keep dreaming about. They're not waiting for a grand breakthrough moment. They're waiting for you to choose them today, in the tiny, invisible, uncelebrated choices you make when nobody else is watching. Because that's where the real transformation begins, not out there, right here, with you, with now, with the choice to keep moving when it would be easier to stay the same. If there's one thing I hope you remember after today, it's that your life isn't waiting for permission. It's waiting for participation. It's easy to think you're stuck because you're missing some secret key, some perfect plan, some magical motivation you haven't found yet. But the truth is simpler than that. You're not stuck because you're missing something. You're stuck because you've been waiting too long to move with what you already have. And maybe that's the hardest part to accept. Because once you realize you're capable of moving forward right now, you also realize something else. No one else is coming to do it for you. Not the next opportunity, not the next perfect moment. Just you. You, right now. You, exactly as you are. You, deciding that even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if it's a little scary, you're still worth the effort. And honestly, you don't need anyone's validation to begin. You don't need a viral moment, a massive breakthrough, or some perfect explosion of confidence. You just need a quiet moment of honesty where you say, I'm tired of standing still. I'm tired of wasting time. I'm ready to start moving, even if it's imperfect. Because change isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It's waiting for you in the next small step you're brave enough to take today. And if you take nothing else from this video, take this. Progress is built by people who show up before they feel ready. And right now, you're closer than you think. Closer to the life you've imagined. Closer to the strength you forgot you had. Closer to becoming the version of you that no longer doubts if it's possible. Because they're too busy living it. So if you're still here, if something inside you feels even a little different than when you clicked on this video, I want you to do something small, but real. Drop the word ready in the comments. Not for me, for you. As a quiet promise that today you're not just thinking about change, you're stepping into it. And no matter how small that step looks, it matters more than you know. So keep moving. Keep choosing yourself. And like always, enjoy your day, my friend. You're doing better than you realize.